It's like springtime in Frankfurt today. Okay, it's not quite spring, but it sure feels like it. People are out and about, which is so good to see after this, whatever you want to call it. And we've got some sunshine today. Finally. Rush Limbaugh in the Olds, and Texas ain't a third world land. Hello, Marmaduke here, and you're listening to the Dispatch Podcast, your weekly update on what's been happening on our little spinning ball. I'm still in Launsch, and another week's gone by. Gentleman's here. He's coofing. He's a coofer, but you know we're socially distancing, so everything's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. But it is difficult distinguishing one week from the next because all our days are practically the same. So, gentleman just sits there. We don't really talk anymore. We just, okay. Well, let's get to the news, shall we? So, Rush Limbaugh died a couple of days ago. Some people in the U.S. mourned his passing. Others celebrated, which is understandable. Oh, 1 second. We have a brief interruption. Okay. Let's hope everyone's okay. These are our days. Oh. Where were we? Okay, yes, so Rush Limbaugh died a couple of days ago, and some people in the U.S. mourned his passing, others celebrated, which is understandable given the political climate in the dis-United States, I'd say. For most people outside of the U.S., they're probably asking, who died? Who was he? Gentlemen, Rush Limbaugh, ring a bell?
Was he some kind of right-wing television presenter or something like this?
Wow. Yes. Good. I didn't. You've heard of him?
Yeah, but I'm still stupid.
Okay. Good. Okay. Well, so I knew Mr. Limbaugh, not personally, but I knew him from driving around with my father in his Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Silver with a black vinyl top. I think it was vinyl. I'm not sure what that material was. And these funky chrome wheels. So my father has never been one to listen to music in his car. And it was either KNBR with the Giants or Niners with one of their games on, or guys talking about the Giants or Niners. And if it wasn't sports, he was listening to political commentary, political shows, talk radio. That was a long time ago. Somewhen in the mid to late 80s, back when I'd guess Roger Craig was the Giants manager, the Hum Baby days. And it wasn't Jack Clark in right field, but Will the Thrill Clark, who also wore number 22 at first base. Kevin Mitchell was with that team. Brett Butler, known as Jaws, Rick Russell, Uribe, and the Giants made it to the World Series in '89, and that's when the earthquake struck right before the start of Game 3. The A's, of course, went on to sweep the Giants in the Battle of the Bay. But that's all wrong. My father did not have an Oldsmobile then. He had graduated to German automobiles by then. Isn't it fantastic how malleable memory is? For some reason, I remember driving around in the Cutlass Supreme. What a name. And listening to Rush Limbaugh. My father was a fan of Limbaugh back then, whenever this must have been in the 80s. He had gone from being a liberal to a conservative. And as my dad liked to tell me, if you're not a liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. And if you're not a conservative when you're old, you don't have a brain. But now my dad's back to being a liberal, so I don't know if he's lost his mind or regrew his heart. But anyway, even though I've made up the memory, he and I, would drive around Destino listening to Mr. Limbaugh's show in his Oldsmobile, though it wasn't his Oldsmobile. And Mr. Limbaugh had an amazing voice. He really did. He was able to paint emotions and images over the airwaves with that voice. Excellent timbre. And my father was at least a decade younger back then than I am today, which is truly frightening. Of course, Mr. Limbaugh was a conservative voice and a controversial one, but who gets famous for being milquetoast? You can't gain a following by carefully weighing and examining ideas and issues. People love black or white. It is or it isn't. There's no in between. There's no need for argument or dialogue, discourse. I truly hope that some conservative voices replace Mr. Limbaugh's, a voice that reached millions, only so that there is a balance between the conservatives and the liberals, between these two extreme voices. Since they're almost exclusively black and white when it comes to ideas and issues, a balance will give us some gray. I'm into the gray. I like the gray, and that's not just because of my hair and beard, God damn it. They're white, by the way, not gray. Okay.
That's controversial.
But, oh, God, man, I just want to go back, to that Oldsmobile and drive around the Destino that was. Yeah. So, other big news? What was the other big news this week?
Mars.
Oh, yeah, there was Mars yesterday. I hope you all watched that. That was cool. And they've even got a helicopter up there that they're going to fly around. Did you know that? You didn't watch the YouTube broadcast, did you? No. But the other big news, which I thought was interesting, was what happened in Texas with the Arctic blast crippling the state's power grid. So millions had no power and no water for days. I think some probably still don't have any power. And there were so many excuses, and people were quick to cast blame on this, that, and everything. The damn renewable hippies, the privatization and graft and nepotism from the conservative folks, punishment by God, you name it. And the New York Times headline, "A Glimpse of America's Future. Climate change means trouble for power grids." And this is the subheader is, systems are designed to handle spikes in demand, but the wild and unpredictable weather linked to global warming will very likely push grids beyond their limits. And here we go again with the black and white, with climate change and global warming. There are a lot of positives when it comes to global warming. Everybody should know that. One of them is you can grow a lot more food. But what about global cooling? Huh? Anybody? Alan, global cooling?
Stay frosty.
No one ever talks about cooling. But it will come at some point. And maybe we won't be around, and I sure hope I'm not. And then I saw these other headlines and comments from people saying Texas was like a third world or developing country. And I thought, BS. I don't think that's true, because if it were true, then fewer people would have frozen to death. Because, you know, if you're in a poorer place, if you're poorer, then you have to have more community. You have to, like, people have to kind of band together and help each other out. Or so I like to think, right? Because, you know, when you ain't got much, you have to help out those around you because you know you're going to need some help yourself.
Like penguins.
Like penguins?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do they help each other out?
Well, they huddle, don't they?
Yeah.
When it gets cold.
They do. And the poor men go off, right?
Indeed.
Or is it the women that go off? The female penguins. Which one goes off?
I don't know.
One stays behind and keeps that egg warm, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, Morgan Freeman.
But, you know, so no. Community is very important. And that's what I was thinking about when I was reading about Texas and just what a horrible, horrible thing that happened to so many people there. So, you know, get out there, make sure you get to know your neighbors, you know, always be on good terms with your family, even if they make you nuts, you know, because no one cares about you more than your family does. You know, so family, community, it's very important. Be strong, Destino. Keep it positive and make sure that those around you know that you love them and that they can count on you. Take care. Cheers.